Trade was, of course, top of mind during the first day of the president's visit to China. And the most concrete agreement was on beef trade, which China restored with the U.S. So that sounds pretty good, right? Lots of important questions about Taiwan and Iran. And I know Eric Trump's business interests, but restoring beef trade would be a good thing. Yet guess what? Within hours of the announcement, it appeared China had already backtracked. So there is that. And Ron Insana, who knows all of the things about trade and the economy and many other things, is going to join me now to explain it. He is, of course, an MS Now contributor and publisher of The Message of the Markets on Substack, a must-read. And John Harwood, a veteran Washington correspondent, also been on many of these trips and a distinguished fellow at Duke University. He's also a columnist for Zateo on Substack. Okay, Ron, let me start with you. What are your big takeaways from today's trade talks?
I'm not sure I have any big takeaways, Jen. I mean, I don't really think, if there's no written agreement on any of these various promises to buy more beef or buy more soybeans or maybe even buy more U.S. oil, which China certainly needs at the moment, given that the Strait of Hormuz remains closed. As you mentioned in the prior segment, normally these agreements are formalized in advance, and then the leaders get together and put an official stamp on those and solidify the agreement for the future. And again, having said that, in every prior case that we've dealt with China, maybe with the exception of buying Boeing planes, which they need, very often to expand their aerial capabilities, China's backtracked on a lot of purchases of late. It's certainly to buy soybeans. They've not come through. Agricultural products, certainly tech products as well. So I don't think there's much, as was said earlier in the program, much substance to these agreements. And they certainly weren't set up in such a way that U.S. companies would benefit materially from what's been discussed thus far.
Yeah, to your point, and we were talking about this in the prior segment, normally people who are one low level below, so the USTR, Commerce, Treasury, others are negotiating these deals, and it's really about the fine print. It's really about the dotting the I's and crossing the T's. It's clearly not where we are. Remember when we used to call them Sherpas? And when we used to talk about the Sherpas going out to these events and getting those I's dotted, setting it all up. Exactly. Yeah. Let me ask you, John Harwood, you've been on a lot of these trips. As Ron just mentioned, I mean, a lot of countries have talked a big game to Trump about trade and U.S. investment. The question is, do they follow through? Do they deliver? What do you think realistically comes out of this trip? There's still a day left here.
I think, Jen, this is an ideal way for Xi to play Trump. Trump is coming to this summit as the weaker of the two. Xi is the stronger of the two. Trump likes to carry around this reputation as a deal maker. He's always using the word deal and saying, I'm cutting a deal here or there. He did the same thing in his first term when China agreed to buy a certain amount of soybeans and they didn't do it. Now you have this reversal within the course of one day. And what you have is Trump, who is weak. His economic numbers are terrible. Consumers are very unhappy with the state of the economy. And Trump wants to have something financial or economic to bring back to them. So Xi can hold out the promise of some investment in the United States or purchases while he stands up and says, as you discussed in the previous segment, he almost warned the president. So we're going to have problems if you don't handle in a mature, stable way issues related to Taiwan. And Donald Trump did not push back on that. It just shows the asymmetry of power in this situation and the fact that Trump, as a narcissist who wants to frame everything in terms of my relationship with this person or that person, as opposed to the strategic interests of the country, can be manipulated by the other person to come away with something that doesn't mean very much.
Yeah, that is the challenge. And it's sort of what you say, you got to check it all. This is what we're journalists like both of you are certainly for. Ron, let me ask you about this trove of business leaders who've traveled with Trump, some who were extremely wealthy, not that which, not a crime at all, but they're looking for something out of this trip. What do you think they're going to get out of it? What differentiates this group? I have my thoughts on this, but I'm very interested in your thoughts from past CEOs coming on trips with past presidents. What do you make of all of it?
Well, I mean, it's in some ways a double-edged sword, Jen, insofar as, you've got people like Jensen Huang, who runs NVIDIA, being, cutting a deal presumably to sell lesser powered chips to China, which pose less national security threats than their most powerful chips. You've got others there like Tim Cook from Apple and a host of other technology executives who are really trying to keep the United States at the forefront of artificial intelligence development tools. And so with that, it's a rather odd combination. I mean, Elon Musk is there, who is soon to be a trillionaire, and his sales in China have plummeted over the course of the last several years as China's become a powerhouse in electric vehicles. So it's really unclear as to what the entire point of this cadre of gentlemen is, and it is exclusively very, very wealthy men that the president has taken with him. And I don't know exactly what they get out of it. It seems like it's all at least at this point, from what we've seen, small potatoes. There's no massive, trade deal that's being undertaken. The president, in fact, in his conversation with President Xi, begged him for reciprocal trade and was touting the fact that China was going to invest $1 trillion in the United States. We've seen no details that would back up that claim.
And Jen, we also have
go ahead.
We also have all the members of the president's family who we have seen throughout his administration are looking to make money off of their proximity to the president. And the president himself is looking to make money. And so it's kind of a tawdry spectacle, really, of the president bringing these wealthy business people as kind of armor, as his wingmen, bringing his kids who are trying to get in on some of the money, while the stronger version of the two, the stronger leader of the two, Xi, is commanding the stage and kind of setting the terms of discussion.